Hello and welcome back. In this part of the tutorial, I'm going to start developing the Angular client application. The Angular app is basically going to be a form that will enable us to post user information to the server. And in this form, we're also going to be able to display the error messages we define in the backend should in case any occur. So I'll generate the app by typing ng new and I'll just call my app front end. I'll hit enter. So this will take a while to complete. I'll return when the project has been generated. So the project has been created. I will start by navigating into the project folder. City, front end. Next, I'm going to start by generating a user class in this folder. This class will have the same fields like the class in the backend. So ng G class, I'll just call it user. Next, I'll also just go ahead and generate a user component. So ng-g c, and I'll just call the component user. And then I'll also just go ahead and generate a service class. So once more, ng-g, this time I'll set s and call it user. And finally, I'll also just go ahead and install Bootstrap. We're going to be using it to style the form. So npm install Bootstrap, add next to get the latest version, save. So next, I'll open up this project folder in Visual Studio Code. So let me clear the screen and type here code dot to open up the project folder in Visual Studio Code. So the project folder is now open up in Visual Studio Code, and I'll open up the user class and declare the various fields. So user.ts, the fields are the email, which is of type string, the name, which is also of type string, the password of type string, the age of type string, and also the phone number of type string. So next, before using the service class, we need to declare it as a provider in the app module.ts file. So I'll open this up and start by importing inside here the service class. User service. And we need to add it as a provider here. And we also need to import inside here the Angular HTTP client module. So import from Angular common HTTP, and we want to import the HTTP client module, this one. Now copy this and add it here as an import. I'll also just go ahead and add the forms module once more. Import forms module from Angular forms. And this should also be declared here as an import. So I can now close this file once and for all. So back in the service class, we can then define the method that will be sending the HTTP request to the server. Before doing that, we need the following. So I'll import here from Angular common HTTP. I'm going to import HTTP client not the client module, but just the HTTP client. And I'm also going to import HTTP headers, this one. As usual, I'll start by defining the URI. So private URI, this is of type string, and I'll just set it to HTTP localhost 8080 create user. Next, I'll declare the content type, which is of type application JSON in the headers. So private, I'll just call this header, and this should be equal to an object. I'll just call it again header, or I can call this HTTP header, and this should then be new HTTP headers. And inside here we'll specify the content type. It's also an object. And this should be of type application JSON. With that in place, I can now inject HTTP client in the constructor and use it to send a request to the server. So private HTTP, this should be of type HTTP client. I'll then create a method here and call it create user. This method should take in the user we want to create, and it should return this dot http dot post. We need to pass in the URI, this dot URI, and the user object, as well as the headers, this dot HTTP headers header. By the way, this should be called headers. So with this in place, we are now ready to start using the service class. I'll start by running the application, but before doing that, I'll open up the main HTML file and get rid of this. Then inside here, I'll declare a div of class container. This will be a bootstrap class. And in this class, I'll add here an inline style. So style, and just set the padding top to around 10 pixels. Then I'm going to display this user component inside here. So let me see how it is called. It is called app user, this one. Let me just copy that and add it here as a tag. So app user. And back in the command line, I'll just go ahead and run this application. So I'll type here ng save. So the application is running. Back in the browser, we can navigate to localhost 4200, and we get the following. In the next video, we are going to create the form in the user component. Until then, see you.